Okay, we move on. 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Las Vegas Raiders 3-2, 1-1 on the road at the Denver Broncos. 3-2, 1-1 at home. We're at Empower Field, Mile High in Denver, Colorado. And this game is obviously clouded by the Jon Gruden resignation as head coach of the Vegas Raiders. And this is the best possible thing to happen to the franchise. They're so lucky. They may decide to pay him a little bit of money. They shouldn't. Shouldn't give him a fucking cent. And they're so lucky that they're not stuck with this dude for the next 6 or 7 years. Or 6 years. The email controversy was clearly a distraction in the ugly 29 home loss to the Bears. You know, Bebsie, it's funny because psychologically I wasn't sure it would be that enormous a distraction. I knew it would be a distraction, but I wasn't sure exactly what it would do to the team. I wasn't sold on them just falling apart with it, but you were. There was no doubt in your mind that you were. And in that situation, I'm sure that you will do what I've seen Loshak do in rare times, is just take the other side and lose the vig and lose the juice. And you were so certain that you counted those two bets as losses. And
yeah, I should have taken the other side. I knew that I knew deep down that there's no way that team was going to get up and play for that coach after all that shit. And I should have just done what I knew was going to happen.
You were so certain about it too. You just counted them as losses. I should have stopped everything and pushed that other way, but I was surprised how certain you were it was going to hurt them. And both coaching controversies badly hurt the teams. Badly hurt. I mean, the Jaguars and the Raiders just completely no-show. I still cannot believe that the Jaguars punted twice and lost by 18 points. I mean, that's just how do you coach that? I mean, that's just unfathomable. Rich Bisaccia, special teams coordinator, being with the team for a long time, takes over. The Raiders failed to score on their opening drive in their 11th consecutive game, their longest such streak in nearly a decade. They scored just 8 points in the first quarter all year. Derek Carr was 22 of 35 for 206 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Hunter Renfrow, 6 catches for 56 yards. Henry Ruggs, 3 catches for 51 yards. Notice no mention of Waller. Josh Jacobs continues to not look healthy. He continues to underwhelm. 15 carries for 48 yards, 1 touchdown. Max Crosby didn't record a stat, but was still disruptive and all over the field. Pro Football Focus rated him the number one edge defender through the first 5 weeks of the year. Led the NFL in pressures with 31, quarterback hits with 11. Raiders recorded 2 sacks and 6 quarterback hits. And I wonder if from a gambling perspective, we put our foot on their throat and bet against them heavily. Let's talk about their injury situation right now. And it's not much, although they moved a bunch of players to the injured reserve a couple days before the game. Damon Arnett, Trayvon Mullen, 2 cornerbacks were moved on the Saturday before the game. So was tight end Derek Carrier right before the game. Marcus Mariota is going to return to practice with a quadricep injury. Who cares? And Peyton Barber is questionable. Let's move over to the market in this spot. We have the Broncos opening up as -3.5. There's 1-4 on the board. It's not really a 4. It's a +109.4 from Pinnacle. This total sitting at 44. There's been a 2-cent move to the over at Pinnacle. Then we have the Broncos coming in off a disappointing 27-19 loss to the Steelers. They're trailed by 18 in the fourth quarter, and then Bridgewater threw a couple TD passes to make it closer. Obviously, the wins against the Giants, Jaguars, and Jets look like a not the right. I don't know what the right. I don't think it was a mirage. I don't think that. I think maybe it was just a mirage. Maybe they're just not that good of a football team. Because legitimately, I thought in week 4 that going into Mile High was a very scary thing to do. and it wasn't. The Ravens came in and beat the shit out of them. Bridgewater, 24-38 for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Cortland Sutton is a beast. 7 catches for 120 yards, 1 touchdown. Tim Patrick, 7 catches for 89 yards. Javonte Williams, I love watching him out there. 8 carries for 61 yards. He deserves a job over Melvin Gordon. And no pressure with Chubb out of the lineup. I mean, all you got to do is focus on Von Miller. Teams are able to do that. This is not the Von Miller of 5 years ago. 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits. Let's just quickly take a look at if there's any possible update. Judy making progress from the right high ankle sprain. There's no return close. Ronald Darby, they hope he'll be able to play in week 6. Mike Ford, another cornerback, suffered a leg injury. Questionable. So Bradley Chubb not coming back this week or next week. Take it away, Bebsie. Raiders, Broncos.
I'd love to fade the Raiders here, given their coaching turmoil, and I think that probably is the right play. I don't know if they'll be able to bounce back quickly. So it's a sit back and watch spot for me. I want to see how this team responds that now that Gruden's gone, because we know they have a ton of talent. We know that if this Gruden thing never happened and this game was being played, we'd be looking at a different line here. But it did, and now we're looking at this line for what it is, and I just think it's really tough to predict what we're going to see from the Raiders. We got a pretty good idea what we're going to see from Denver, which is some solid defense, some very average like this team screams 8-8 to me, but I can't play it until I see what the Raiders now do. Like, it was obvious to me last weekend that the Raiders were not going to play for Gruden. And I'm not at all surprised by the fact that he's resigned. And yeah, you're absolutely right when you say this is best case scenario for the Raiders organization. They don't have to pay this clown for however, what do you have, 6 years left on his contract? He had a bunch left at, on that $100 million contract. But this is, I can't bet them until I see how they respond, because this is still a good football team, the Vegas Raiders. But can they bounce back now? Is it like, all right, he's gone, let's get back to business? I don't know. I need to see that first, so I'm staying off it.
And very interesting here from Burgundy Bets, and salient point here, and perfect reasoning after Bebsie says he wants to stay off and watch. And I say, do we step on the foot? It's so important from a gambling perspective. When do you put your foot on the throat of a team and make money off of them? This is from Burgundy Bets. It says, Jimmy, this interim coach is a special teams coach. He knows the roster from the bottom half to the top half, talks with everyone, and league talk is very respected. Raiders plus 3.5 in a full game. Look, I've been staying off of so much of this year card, and I'm very comfortable with that. It may bore the viewers. I will be making moves. I will be making moves on this card. They'll happen throughout the week, and I'll tweet them out, and I will study everything that's being said here in the chat and everything that Bebsie is saying. But Raiders, Broncos at Empire Field, Mile High, no move for me.